Everything has changed for the Indiana Fever, and yet hardly anyone's talking about it. As your news feed fills up with all the drama from the NBA right now, there's another revolution happening, and it's on the other side of the court. The WNBA is experiencing an overhaul like never before, and the Indiana Fever are at the center of this seismic shift. We're talking about a team that, just a couple of seasons ago, was finishing at the bottom of the standings and drafting first overall. Now, after just one offseason, they're serious contenders for the WNBA championship. And the best part? They've done it with sheer strategy, aggressive moves, and most importantly, because of her, Caitlin Clark. Remember when people were saying that WNBA players hated Caitlin Clark? That no one would want to play with her, let alone join a team in Indiana? Well, they were wrong. The Indiana Fever are absolutely crushing this WNBA free agency, and every move they've made so far shows that this team is now a force to be reckoned with. Let's break down why this is happening and how the Fever became the undeniable winners of the 2024 free agency. The biggest question mark going into the offseason was the future of Kelsey Mitchell. She's Caitlin Clark's running mate and partner in the backcourt. Mitchell is a two-time WNBA All-Star, and at just 28 years old, she's already proving to be one of the best players in Fever history. With back-to-back seasons of high-scoring performances, Mitchell has been a steadying presence for the Fever. While Caitlin Clark is the face of the team, Kelsey Mitchell's contribution can't be understated. She's been top 10 in scoring for the past decade, an all-time great scorer in college, and she's on track to break all kinds of records in Indiana. If she stays in Indiana, Mitchell will leave her mark as the Fever's all-time leading scorer in points, field goals, three-pointers, and games played. The best part? Mitchell's prime years are still ahead of her. Everyone was focused on Caitlin Clark's arrival, but let's not forget that the Fever's early struggles last season were counterbalanced by Mitchell's breakout performance in the second half. From averaging 17.7 points in the first part of the season to a scorching 24.3 points per game after the Olympic break, Mitchell's resurgence was key to Indiana's turnaround. The Fever went from below .500 to making the playoffs and securing the 6th seed in the entire WNBA. Keeping Kelsey Mitchell was non-negotiable for the Fever. After such a promising season, losing her would have been a huge blow to Caitlin Clark's future in Indiana. But they didn't let that happen. The Fever locked Mitchell down with a one-year Supermax deal worth $250,000. While it would have been great to secure her for longer, this deal gives Indiana some flexibility for the future while also keeping their best scorer on board for the next season. Now, here's where things get crazy. The Fever weren't done. In an incredible move, they went out and signed some of the biggest free agents in the market, starting with DeWanna Bonner. Imagine this. Last season, Bonner and Caitlin Clark were on opposite sides in a hard-fought playoff series. Now, Bonner will be joining Clark's side. The 37-year-old All-Star, a 6-time WNBA All-Star and a 2-time WNBA champion, is an elite player who can do it all. She's a top 10 scorer and rebounder in WNBA history, and she's played in more playoff games than anyone else in the league. She's scored over 1,000 playoff points and grabbed countless rebounds in the postseason. And now, she's bringing that experience to Indiana. What makes Bonner such a big pickup is her versatility. She's not just a scorer. She can shoot from deep. She's hit over 600 three-pointers in her career. Rebound, pass, defend, and block shots. She's a nightmare for opposing teams because she can do it all on both ends of the floor. On top of that, she has a history of thriving in big games, something the Fever, with their youthful roster, desperately need. Bonner is going to bring a championship pedigree to Indiana. She's been to the biggest stages in the WNBA and knows what it takes to win at the highest level. Having her on the team isn't just about her scoring, though. It's about the leadership and poise she'll bring to a team that will be under the spotlight this coming season. But DeWanna Bonner wasn't the only veteran the Fever brought in. Enter Natasha Howard. In a move that shocked many, Natasha Howard, one of the most sought-after free agents, chose to return to the Fever, where she was drafted in 2014. Howard's defensive prowess has made her one of the best in the league. At 33, she's still in her prime, and she's coming off a season where she averaged 17.6 points per game, her second-best scoring season to date. Her versatility and defensive presence make her an ideal fit for Indiana's revamped roster. Howard is a three-time WNBA champion, a two-time All-Star, and the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year. Last season, she posted impressive stats across the board, including 6.7 rebounds per game and nearly 2 assists and 1 steal per game. She's a force on both ends of the floor and can guard multiple positions, something that will help the Fever with their defensive rotations. The Fever needed someone who could step in and provide immediate help on defense, and Howard fits that role perfectly. What's even more exciting for Indiana is the chemistry she'll have with Caitlin Clark. Howard is known for her high motor and transition play, and with Clark running the show, expect a lot of easy buckets for Howard in transition. Clark's playmaking ability will elevate Howard's game, and the two will form a deadly offensive and defensive combination. Howard's experience, leadership, and defensive versatility give the Fever another edge over their competition. She'll be stepping in as the starting power forward, pairing with Aaliyah Boston to create a formidable frontcourt duo. And just when you thought the Fever's free agency couldn't get any crazier, they land another key player in Sophie Cunningham. Cunningham, a seasoned shooting guard known for her toughness and ability to space the floor, will be a valuable addition to the Fever's roster. While she's not as high profile as Bonner or Howard, Cunningham is a gritty, competitive player who can contribute on both ends of the court. Her ability to shoot from deep will stretch defenses and open up more opportunities for Caitlin Clark and others to drive to the basket. Cunningham is entering the prime of her career at 28 and will add depth to Indiana's already stacked roster. What's more, Cunningham is joining the Fever after being recruited by Caitlin Clark herself, which just goes to show that Clark's influence in the league is real. The Indiana Fever have taken a massive leap forward, thanks to their aggressive free agency moves and the leadership of Caitlin Clark. By securing Kelsey Mitchell, bringing in veterans like DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, and Sophie Cunningham, the Fever are now poised to contend for a WNBA championship. This team went from drafting first overall to becoming a serious title contender in just one offseason. And it's all because of their front office's vision, Caitlin Clark's pull, and their ability to attract top-tier talent. So, as the season approaches, don't sleep on the Indiana Fever. With this roster, they're ready to make some serious noise. The WNBA is about to get a whole lot more interesting, and the Fever are at the center of it all. Get ready for an unforgettable season